Hello party people. Today is when I get my 1400th platinum, and this has 2 stacks for PS4 and PS5. It is cross-buy, so I figured, like, you know, even though the PS4 version was my 1400th, I got the platinum as fast as possible using the skip method. And this is the PS5 version, and it might as well be my 1400 platinum or whatever. I'm not that neurotic about it. I have a feeling we're going to be spending a long time on this, so just buckle in, guys. I might have to split this up in 2 parts and take a break during the middle. So this is a easy platinum that you can actually get just by pressing the R1 button, and you can just walk away or sit in front of the screen trying to figure out what's going on. I did not include the thumbnail, the image to this on the PlayStation menu. I feel like it's going to give away too much, so we're just starting it like this. You can look up the thumbnail later, don't worry about it. Alright, here we go. The night sky was dark. A few stars twinkled up above. Just tiny pinpricks, like split granules of sugar. Stars looked so small and far away. It tugged at something within the young woman's heart. Was this the same sky her family could see? Were these stars the same stars? Was this moon the same moon? She didn't know. She hadn't seen her family in so long. But she couldn't think about that now. If she did, she was sure she would cry, and she didn't want to do that. She refused. She'd always been stubborn. That was how she ended up in this mess. A little bit of foreshadowing here. The girl had been riding in the back of a horse-drawn cab for upwards of 14 hours. It was 7 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. Her legs, which had been cramped up in a space far too small for them for far too long, hurt. Even as she stood there, doing nothing more strenuous than simply existing, her body trembled. It felt like a mischievous imp was inserting needles into the backs of her legs. She could hear in the distance the sound of horses' hooves striking against the ground. The carriage was lurching away beneath the cover of the night. There was nowhere else for her to go, nowhere for her to run. All she could do was stare at the wrought iron gates before her and the large, imposing house beyond. Bly? It was worlds apart from the girl's home in Liverpool, which she shared for many years with her mother and 3 sisters now, given the recent birth of the youngest, Alice, little Alice. But she would never be able to see Alice grow up. She swallowed, her throat convulsed. So this was to be her new place of residence, not her home. She could never call it her home. There's something horribly austere about the place, not helped by the sinister shadows that enveloped everything. The trees in the vast, expansive garden were tall and skinny. They stood sentinel, their boughs waving in the breeze, almost like ghosts, skeletal soldiers. Bly, with, I assume that's like some exclamation like "oh my god" or something. With its crumbling walls and darkened windows, it seemed like the kind of place that would have a ghost story or two. It has existed long enough, built in the early part of the 17th century, the girl had heard. How many ghosts lurked within those walls? Soon she would find out. Her carpet bag was balanced in the crook of her arm. It was small and had a dent in the side, impossible to remove. She knew because she had tried. All her worldly belongings were stowed inside that single bag. A few sets of clothes, a hairbrush, an old battered volume of Robinson Crusoe. That was all. There were no toiletries, no jewelry, not even a second pair of shoes. She couldn't afford such luxuries. Oops. She was only a maid. A maid at Bly, working in the service of the Leonard family. She never met the Leonard family before, but the Pickering's housekeeper, Miss Marianne, had told her they were not so very bad. There was the mistress, Lady Louisa Leonard, the husband, Lord Albert Leonard, who was often away on business trips. Then there was their sole daughter and heir to the family fortune, Lady Constance Leonard. She can handle that much, couldn't she? She hoped so. She had to. She didn't have a choice. She drew in a deep breath. The cold air tugged at her in her skirts. Her fingers trembled. They were starting to turn blue. The wind seemed to suck the air out of her lungs. It felt like a cold hand was pressing against her larynx. She choked on her own breath. Her eyes stung. But she wouldn't cry. She'd already told herself she wouldn't. Instead, trying to gather what little scraps of self-confidence she still possessed. You can do this. There's no turning back now. Her name is Lorena, as you can see. Lorena, while only 19 years of age, clutched her bag to her chest and straightened her back. She wasn't one to back down from a challenge. Just how bad could Bly possibly be? It's very genetically favored, I see. Ebihime presents Blackberry Honey. Constance. Theodora. Didn't know that was a name. It's like a musical. The 16th of March, Wednesday. I just want to point out that I had no idea what the story was about. I didn't know anything about the game. It just happened to play out this way. Lorena. What the hell was that? When Lorena opened her eyes, she was met with the same dismal sight that greeted her every morning for the last 4 months. A gray ceiling peppered here and there with ominous cracks, heralding the inevitable day when it would one day collapse under its own weight. For the time being, however, this was where Lorena was asleep. Her very own bedroom in Bly. Not that it was her bedroom, of course. It was a small, tightly packed attic she shared with 5 of her fellow maids. Isabel, Pauline, Ada, Effie, and the Swiss-born Lysalot? I don't know. The other maids were rising, stretching, yawning, complaining. Isabel and Pauline were the worst for it. They always complained. Lorena supposed it was very English in a way, but she rather wished they wouldn't. My head feels so thick. Must mean there's rain coming. It always bloody rains around here. Wouldn't be England without it. I like the rain. Good on you, Effie. Good morning, Lorena. Lorena stretched and sat up in bed. The thin sheets pooled about her body. The sheets were stained and rarely offered any warmth, not even in the spring. Still, Lorena supposed it was better than nothing. Look on the bright side. That's what her mother would say. There's always a silver lining. Said, silver lining being Lorena's fellow maid, Ada. Ada was rather young, only a year or so older than Lorena, and the two maids had formed something of an alliance. They were both the oldest sisters in large families, and they both worked in order to support their siblings. The only difference was Ada had 3 younger brothers. Lorena had 3 sisters. Good morning, Ada. Good? What's so good about it exactly? It's just a figure of speech. I don't care what it is. It's blinking ridiculous. Here, does anybody want to wake up at 5 o'clock? Maybe masochists? I must be bloody masochistic working here. My fingers are shot to pieces, they're shaking. I'll never be able to light the fires like this. Oh, don't talk about fires, I'm frigid. Last night was cold. You think that was cold? That was nothing compared to the winters at Andermatt. And in case you hadn't realized, Lieselette, you're not in Switzerland anymore. Yes, oh how I miss it. The sun rising over the Alps is truly a sight to behold. I wish you could all see it. That doesn't sound rather lovely. They say the air in the Alps is good for circulation. I'm sure it would do you wonders. Do you really think so? Oh yes, I know so. Unfortunately, there are no Alps to behold here. Get your head out of the clouds, Lottie, or I'll shove it up a chimney. You English women are so very witty. Witty was the last word Lorena would have used in conjunction with Isabel, but she decided to keep that to herself. With a small yawn, the young maid stretched her arms above her head. She was unsure what time it was exactly, but it must have been around 5 o'clock in the morning. Mornings came for the servants of Blythe several hours earlier than they did for Lady Leonard and her privileged offspring, Lady Constance. The servants had to wake up at unforgiving hours, before even the sun had started to rise. It was their lot in life to scuttle about soundlessly, creeping through the shadowy hallways, opening the shutters, polishing the fireplaces, dusting the mantelpieces, and so on and so forth. It never ended. From 5 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night, the maids of Blythe were fully occupied with their work. There wasn't a single moment where they could sit down and rest. Maybe that was why Isabel and Pauline, who had been maids for longer than the others, were so snappish and irritable. It didn't help that the head butler, Grant Lester, was a stickler for the rules. He was incredibly strict, perhaps more so than Lady Leonard herself. Hey, Lorena. Pauline, who was already dressed, gave Lorena a disparaging look. Were you planning on getting dressed at some point, or are you just gonna sit there? Oh, Lorena scrambled to her feet, throwing the covers to one side. She had been so immersed in her idle fancy she had quite forgotten. Pauline sniggered. So did Isabel. I'm sorry. I'm getting ready right away. Don't apologize to us. Apologize to Mr. Lester when you're late coming downstairs. Again. I'm getting dressed right now, I am. Do you want us to applaud? We shan't wait for you, you know. Let's go. We'll all be old women by the time she's finished. But that includes you too, Ada. Alright, sorry, Lorena. Don't apologize for her, stupid. If she gets scolded, she'll deserve it. On her own head be it. I understand. Sorry. And you, Lottie, are you coming or are you still thinking about Switzerland? I'm always thinking of Switzerland, but I do not want to be scolded by Mr. Lester. He's so very strict. Lieselette gave Lorena an apologetic smile. I'll see you later, Lorena. If you ever have cause to feel down, just think of the Alps. Oh, I will. Not that Lorena knew what the Alps looked like, but didn't know very much really. She never had to travel beyond the borders of her home country. Being a maid, she probably never got the chance. Her future was already set in stone. Later that morning. Is this the one you wanted? Lady Constance, pondering, index finger tapping against her lower lip before she shook her head. Now that is obviously not good enough. The leaves have been eaten by caterpillars. Look. I can't see anything wrong with it myself. Then you're blind. Or perhaps you're just being a little madame. Lorena muttered mutinously under her breath. Lady Constance had been one of Lorena's younger sisters. Lorena would have lost her temper already. If you don't like it, I can always look for another. See to it that you do. I cannot stand having a display of withered roses in my bedroom. I bet you couldn't. What was that? Oh, nothing. Just talking to myself. Well, don't. Mother says that's a sign of madness. Perhaps she was mad, Lorena mused. She must have been to take Lady Constance's abuse. If she had 1 ounce of sense, she would have slapped Lady Constance right across her smug little face, 12 years old or no. In fact, it was precisely because Lady Constance was 12 years old that she needed discipline. If nobody gave her a stern talking to, Lorena feared Lady Constance would become quite an unpleasant person when she got older. Even more unpleasant than she was already. If Lady Constance had been a sweet, innocent child who enjoyed tucking herself into small corners and reading books, she would have been a pleasure to serve. Lorena would have gone out of her way to make life as comfortable as possible for this imaginary Constance. The real Constance, however, was not so lively. Real little girls never were, though they were depicted as sweet, delicate angels in plays and poems. The reality was rather different. Now, maid, try to find me some roses that look nice. It shouldn't be too hard. Joe, whoever Joe is, has strict orders to only let the most beautiful roses bloom in this garden. Yes, miss. But that was easier said than done. If the roses within Lorena's immediate vicinity were not acceptable, for whatever make-believe reason Lady Constance has dreamt up, she would need to search harder. What about roses that were further back in the thicket? Lorena began to search, brushing some of the roses to one side. The flowers were undeniably beautiful, their pink petals as soft as velvet, but the thorns were numerous. They were sharp and pointed, just waiting to spill blood. Lorena shied away from like a reluctant pony, her fingertips trembling. The thorns promised pain, and she had no desire to cause herself unnecessary grief. Lady Constance, meanwhile, was unsympathetic. The little girl tutted and sighed and tapped her right foot against the ground, her brown eyes rolling about inside her head the whole while. This should be easy, maid. I don't understand why you're taking so long. It would be easy, Lorena, she could retort, if somebody was not hell-bent on making this so complicated. But of course she didn't say that. Not even under her breath. It wouldn't have been worth it. Is this rose to your liking, miss? No, that's not good enough at all. Then this one? No, I want the best roses in my room. Anything less would be an insult, unless... Are you trying to insult me? Oh, of course not, miss. Then take this more seriously. You are a maid, aren't you? Yes, miss. Then you should do everything within your powers to keep me happy. Sorry guys, I'm falling asleep right now. Yes, miss. Start doing your job properly. I already need to pick me the best roses, and that's what I expect. The best roses are the ones right at the back, so you need to look a little deeper. But miss, what? Didn't you hear what I just said? I gave you an order. I realize that, but are those ears of yours just for show? You were listening to me, weren't you? Yes, I understand. You understand what? I understand, miss. If you understand, start looking. I won't leave you until you've picked at least one acceptable rose. Yes, miss. Left with no other alternative, the young maid continued to search among the flower beds. Her arms trembled too. So too did her eyelashes. Her whole body was tense and taut. One wrong move and she would lacerate her skin, and not just one, but 2, 3, or 4, 5, 15 places. Then she would start swearing under her breath and blinking tears out of her eyes. Lorena didn't want to show such a weak side of her character to Lady Constance. She could hardly bear the thought. That's probably why Lady Constance liked picking on her. Lorena had too much pride, but she got flustered easily and couldn't always stand up for herself. She wasn't like the parlor maid. She would never be like the parlor maid. Not that she wanted to be. The parlor maid was a cold woman, aloof and distant, who only ever spoke to Lorena to pass malicious comments. Her barbed statements slid beneath the skin more effectively than 1,000 thorns from 1,000 roses. The parlor maid's words hurt and Lorena didn't even know why. It wasn't as though Lorena wanted her approval. She didn't like her at all. Why was it then that Lorena's throat felt dry whenever she saw her, and her stomach fluttered, and she couldn't look her in the eye, and Lorena gasped in shock and stumbled away from the rosebush, clasping her hand to her chest. 3 wounds crisscrossed on the back of her right hand. 2 of them were shallow, superficial, oozing droplets of crimson blood, no bigger than pinheads, but the other was far bigger. This cut had cleaved a chunk of flesh out of her hand, stripping her to skin like a roll of wallpaper. Lorena stared at her hand, and then at the ground. There were splashes of blood, her blood, just inches away from her right foot. She shook her head. She felt sick. Blood didn't often make Lorena feel faint, but there was quite a lot of it, and she didn't want to smear her apron. And to make matters worse, there was a thorn embedded in the back of her hand. It emerged from the open wound like a piece of thread through the eye of a needle. Don't bleed all over the flower beds, idiot. What do you think you're doing? I just no, don't tell me. I know the answer. You weren't thinking at all. You maids really are useless. Wow. What a bitch. The parlor maid. My, how did you do that to yourself? It was an accident. Well, I should hope you didn't do it on purpose. That would be quite the foolish thing to do. I don't know what that word is. Lorena glowered. Her cheeks flustered. The parlor maid was always cool, calm, and irritatingly aloof. She was as haughty as a cat, and constantly seemed to smile down on others, but she always accompanied her blatant disregard with a small smile. Lorena never felt quite herself when she was in company of this unsettling woman. Her gaze made Lorena tremble. It was almost as if everything Lorena had been misaligned by an inch or so her skeleton no longer fit neatly inside her body. Truthfully, Lorena had been hoping to avoid the parlor maid during this sad state of affairs. In a more perfect world, she would have retreated to the kitchen, cleaned the blood off her hands beneath the sink, and pulled out the offending thorn with minimal fuss, no fanfare at all. That was what she wanted. But life was never that simple. The parlor maid had been in the kitchen already, and Lorena had only realized once she had crossed the threshold and their eyes had met, and it had been too late for her to turn back and leave. Why the parlor maid was in the kitchen and not in the parlor, as her title suggested, was a mystery. It appeared though Lorena had no intentions of asking her, that she was in the middle of preparing various tea things, arranging several pillow-patterned teacups and a matching teapot on the tea tray. Was Lady Leonard having guests then? It seemed as good as a guest as any. Say, what do you want? I was wondering if I could look at your hand. And why would you want to do that? Oh dear, so suspicious. I just want to know if I could be of any assistance. You look like you are in pain. I don't know why you care. I'm just trying to show an interest. There's nothing terrible about that, is there? Do you think I'm terrible? Lorena swallowed. She had expected a sudden inquiry. Why was the parlor maid trying to put words in her mouth? But that's not the only thing she wants to put words in her mouth. I never said that. Then stop being foolish and let me help you. You cannot expect to perform satisfactory first aid on yourself. Not with one hand, it can't be done. Asset to the Walking Dead Telltale series when, I forgot the name, but the main character gives herself stitches, that's what I'm saying. But you have work to do. I always have work to do, it can wait. But Lady Leonard won't mind if her tea is a minute or too late, I'm sure. Clementine, that's her name. She'd mind if I was the one who had to deliver it. But you're not, and I am, and it is different. That's right, it is different, isn't it? Now, don't look so down. I'm just stating the facts. There's no need to sulk. I'm not sulking. Not anymore. You're angry with me, aren't you? Lorena opened her mouth, closed it again. Her face turned even redder. The parlor maid laughed. You're so easy to read, Lori. Lori? That's right, Lori. Nobody calls me that. I just did. I wish you wouldn't. We can't all have what we want. She's fucking alpha, yo. She's the dominating one. I'm aware of that. Thank you very much. Lorena frowned. So the parlor maid knew her name, but she insisted on using a silly nickname for whatever reason, but Lorena didn't know hers. Maybe she should have done, considering she had been at Bly for 4 months. But the parlor maid's name was strange and foreign. It was difficult to get her tongue around. Why should she need to know her name anyway? They weren't friends. Lorena wanted nothing to do with that insufferable woman. But all the same... What are you doing? Taking care of you, like I said I would. But why? Because I don't believe you can take care of yourself. That's quite an assumption to make, and not a very polite one either. Why should I worry about being polite? I'm polite enough to Lady Leonard, though I don't think she deserves it. One gets awfully tired of minding their manners all the time. You agree with me, don't you? That's beside the point. So you do agree. How lovely. Now hold still. The parlor maid's hands were smooth and soft, and her fingers were slender. They were the hands of an artisan. I bet she knows how to use her fingers well. I bet she does. Now those hands were holding Lorena's. Lorena felt herself shivering, and not just because of the pain. Her right hand was still bleeding, though gently. The bloodshed was so slow and lackadaisical, it was almost relaxing. Now what is this? The parlor maid's lips were inches away from the shell of Lorena's ear. Her breath tickled. Is this a thorn? Lorena nodded dumbly. How did you do this to yourself? Did you fall into a rose bush? It wasn't intentional. Then you were pushed. You could say that, I suppose. Was this one of Lady Constance's whims? Yes, she wanted me to pick up some roses for her. But I got hurt in the process? Evidently. The parlor maid clicked her tongue against the roof of her mouth. Lady Constance doesn't care for flowers, you know. She's an exceedingly careless girl. I'm aware of that. Alright, we're almost at half an hour. This isn't really capturing my attention. There's some good interaction between these two, but maybe I'll just skip to the interaction between these two. How does that sound, guys? Sound good? Okay. 1400 platinum right there. Let me attend to this. I never asked you to. Verena gritted her teeth together. The words bubbling up within her breast were treacherous. She would never have been able to say such things to Lady Constance or Lady Leonard for fear of losing her job. But she could say them to the parlor maid. The parlor maid was the only one Lorena could take her anger out on. Don't worry, there's no need to thank me. Well, what do we miss? As per usual, her blanket offered no warmth. Oh, Andermatt. Could it really be? Rapunzel-like? I never wish to leave. I cannot. This is where I belong. Chose the moment to declare rather loudly for a sleepwalker. Her continued allegiance to her beloved Andermatt. Lorena's left eye twitched. Fine. I'm getting up. Oh, Andermatt. Shut up. The 3rd of April, Sunday. Weren't we on Wednesday? What happened then? And when you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled. Warmed, was it? A reverend speaking. Are they in church right now? Who is he? He? Oh my. I see you English are not familiar with Saint Verena after all. I haven't heard of them. He's a Swiss saint. Okay. There's a lot of fucking dialogue, yo. A blonde girl with a disagreeable scowl stood by the woman's side, her hands planted firmly against her hips. Lorena realized that she knew these women. She'd never spoken to them before, but she had seen them in passing on more than one occasion. Your Fuka attended the Sunday services at St. Mary's, too. It's a small world after all, and Ellesmere was smaller than most. Are you working, or are you just standing there? What a bitch. I was taking a short break, miss. My arms started to hurt. Your arms hurt? How terrible. I'm so sorry your arms hurt. This is your job, maid. I have no sympathy for you or your complaints. Now, I must be on my way. But if you think about taking another ill-deserved break, you know what will happen, don't you? I have a vague idea, miss. Good, then you're not as stupid as you looked. Fucking bitch slapped her, man. Come on now. And, blah, 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 blah. Let me drink your tears. No, I'm not going to cry. I'm going to ask you to give it a rest. What a shame. You two hardly deserve to take the moral high ground when you waste so much time gossiping. If Mr. Lester gets mad at you, that's your problem. It has nothing to do with Ada. Pauline's unpleasant accusation had been bad enough, but Ada's concerns over the ghost of Bly continued. She might be a maid, but she's a hard-working girl. Is she not? Oh, we gotta figure out what's going on over here. We gotta backtrack over here. Lorena had come to a standstill too. It was impossible for her to move, even if she wanted to. Thanks to her thoughts, which she always seemed to trip her up, quite literally this time she had managed to run right into the one person she did not want to run into. Hello, Lori. That's quite the interesting greeting you gave me. Tahua? How do you say it? Tahua? Lorena blinked at the older woman with the wide eyes. Her eyes were so wide, in fact, it looked like her irises had been swallowed up by her whites. Her cheeks, meanwhile, were slowly starting to turn pink. Why, of all the embarrassing things... Are you alright? You look rather flustered. Tired, too. Have you not been getting enough sleep? I get more than enough sleep. One must look after their health. Precious maids were collapsed from fatigue. Once more, Lorena thought of Emily Soldine. She shook her head. Why do we have to put out the fires? Putting the moon to one side for now. So this a lot of star watching at night, so you would think there would be more about astrology in this, but it seems very obviously it's not like the most religious story, but like I think they're just trying to illustrate the time, the setting this takes place in the story, or the game technically. I hope for your sake they're nicer than the coconut macaroons. You pity her, why? I can't say for sure, but I've always had the idea she can't be a very happy child. If she was happy, she wouldn't be so difficult. Probably right. Ow. As Lena soon discovered, this was a rather poor idea for a couple of reasons. For one thing, kicking the wall hurt. For another, the pale yellow wallpaper now had an unappealing blemish streaked across it. Blinking the tears from her eyes, Lorena peered at the damage she had caused. It didn't look good. How she's going to explain this to Miss Smythe? So are both those girls pretty much bitches? Is that what's going on? And what, pray tell, are you doing outside at this hour? Lady Constance glared at Lorena sourly. She looked remarkably composed for one who had been sulking about in the shadows at the dead of night. She wasn't even shaking. I never meant to cause you an offense. I don't care what you meant. I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Well, what should I tell your mother? Wait, there's something I broke. What was that glass sound? Slowly, very slowly, as if time had come to crawl, the vase fell through the air. and shattered against the carpet. It was impossible to count how many pieces. You. How could you do something like that? I don't know what you're talking about. But the vase. One of Mother's favorites. A gift Father brought back home from Italy. You will be in a lot of trouble when she finds out, maid. Wow, she's setting her up right now. Throwing her under the bus. Oh, does she come to rescue? Tawa smiled and tugged at the end of Lorena's ponytail. Get your hands off me then. That is precisely your problem. What? You get too flustered. If you want people to obey you, you shouldn't cower or stammer or shy away. But neither should you make your anger too apparent. Anger only breeds more anger. I can't help being angry. Lady Constance is so cruel, not just the vase, but what she did to Miss Amy. I guess we'll never find out what she did. We have a good many things to be angry about, but it will get us nowhere. You said you hated Lady Constance. I do, but I don't let her know that. Not too openly. It's better to treat others with arch disdain, but not abject revulsion. Keep them guessing, then they won't know how to respond. She runs into her. This is a pleasant surprise. Tao's presence unsettled her. Thinking of her eyes, her nose, her lips. She always vanishes, and there's nothing mysterious about it. What was that? Was that a cat? Oh yeah. They kept the cat? Whoa, what was that? What was that? What was that? What's going on over here? I just realized I never properly thanked you for helping me all of these times before, and I don't want to be indebted to anyone, so I'm here. And with that, Lorena pressed her lips firmly against Tahoa's. The smell of orange peel grew even stronger, almost intoxicating. Lorena's head swam. Her lips were really soft. Lorena's fingers entwined with Tawa, the palms of their hands pressed flush together. Lorena could feel her chest pressing up against Tawa's. They were so close, there wasn't a single inch of space between them. The warmth of her body, the smell of her skin, it was more intoxicating than Lorena had ever imagined. Lorena didn't know how she managed to make her way back to the servants' quarters after that rather intense encounter with Tawa. She walked through the hallway on unsteady legs that threatened to give out beneath her at any given moment. The 16 steep steps she had to climb to her attic bedroom was a perilous trek, indeed, even more dangerous than an expedition to the Arctic. Why is her face red? I thought she was drinking. Black fluid, what the hell is that? Oh, did they do a black and white of that one? A still shot? Is she reimagining this in her head? What on earth would her mother say? Maybe she should write a letter. Here's another kissing scene? Oh, we gotta see it then. Because I saw it. I saw it briefly, but I saw it there. I have like eagle eyes for the shit. Lorena's head swam. Her lips were really soft. The smell of orange peel grew even stronger, almost intoxicating. Lorena's fingers entwined with Tawa, the palms of their hands pressed flush together. Lorena could feel her chest pressing up against Tawa's. They were so close, there wasn't a single inch of space between them. The warmth of her body, the smell of her skin, it was more intoxicating than Lorena had ever imagined. Oh, is this the same one? What the hell? It's the black and white, make it seem like it was in the past. It was given to me. I believe she liked me well enough, yes. Do you want me to show you? I can if you're interested. Well, if you don't mind. It was a good point. This was a rare opportunity Lorena didn't want to let go. She didn't know when she would have another chance. She wanted to learn more about Tawa. She was almost desperate. Maybe this violin was the key. I think these are like Constance's like cousins or something like that. Maybe that's her aunt, I don't know. Oh, is she playing the violin? I will admit the music's pretty good, especially that lyric video that showed up during it. Oh, what's going on over here? What's going on? What's going on? Wet petals, interesting. With a loud scream that made the nearby crows scatter, Lorena was thrown off her balance and toppled over backwards into the running river. You really don't need to do this. I know, but I am the one who pushed you. I'm taking responsibility. But I never asked you to. But I've decided to take responsibility nevertheless, because I'm an exceedingly kind person. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Lorena, I'm both shocked and appalled at you. Are you doubting my sincerity? Whenever Lorena found the time to take a bath, the water was never hot. Lukewarm was about as good as it got. Lukewarm was better than it usually was. That was all thanks to Tawa. Lorena had tried to protest, albeit feebly, but Tawa had insisted. Did he just talk about Jesus? It was a miracle on par with Jesus multiplying his bread and fish. Interesting. Really, compared to them, I'm incredibly average. Beauty is an eye of the beholder, my little lord, and Tawa raised an eyebrow. I felt that rather hard to believe. Why are you like this? I already told you I can't help myself. You should learn. It just won't do staring at other girls like a hungry wolf. You wound me, Lord. I don't stare indiscriminately. I only stare at people I like. Lorena felt her heart fluttering. Her stomach tightened itself up in knots. The coral pink islands of her knees. You like me? Of course, silly. I'd rather think you like me too. You must. How did you come to that conclusion? I don't know. How do you think? A reasonable amount of intelligence, no more than average, well, slightly above average. But not to flatter yourself, of course. Of course not. I'm simply giving an unblemished, obscured recounting of facts. The facts. Okay. Well, what is that black screen for? This is very suspicious when I see so. The memory was enough to make... Wait, one memory. Oh, the thorn thing again? Blah 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 blah. No, honestly, like, this is a pretty long... If you see how many texts there was. So yeah, like I said, this was an easy platinum. Like I believe the game's called A Winter's Daydream. You just press the skip button and then you can just walk away and you get the platinum. But I paid a decent amount of money for this game, so I would like to get some use out of the story so I get my money's worth. It's not that it's a bad story, there's just a lot of things are really drawn out, I feel like. And it doesn't help that most of the message boxes are sometimes very short. Or they go from like short to too long. There's nothing really in the middle in terms of text. A love dream? Oh, she plays the piano? She plays the violin too? Isn't that why they got her the violin? What about Tuesday? The 10th of May. There's that bitch again. Damn bitch Constance. Constance is constantly a bitch. I forget what day that said. Blackberry jam. Interesting. Maybe that's where the title comes from. It's all coming together now. Tuesday. It said Tuesday. I don't know what month it was, but it said Tuesday. Just stargazing a lot. I wonder if they could see through a window or something, or just opening the window. Well, what's going on over here? If embracing a girl who bore a striking resemblance to a waterlogged corpse was an unpleasant experience, Tawa didn't comment on it. She continued to hold Lorena close, one arm around her side. Maybe it was her way of apologizing. What are you doing? This won't help anything. It won't, but it will make you feel better. That's awfully confident of you. My confidence is well deserved. I never disappoint. Prodded Lorena's cheek. The younger maid giggled despite herself. See, you do feel better. Maybe a little. Maybe a lot. But if you hold me like this, you're gonna get wet. I don't care. It would make a nice change for once. Lorena pouted. Are you trying to suggest I'm not enough to satisfy you? Don't take it too seriously. I'm just joking. Dara pressed the kiss against Lorena's temple. And I really am sorry, my little Lori. I didn't want to get you in trouble. That was the last thing on my mind. The very last. You saved me when it came to the vase. I appreciate. Where did I get appreciate from? Well, I was making up my own lines. Perhaps this was fate. God works in mysterious ways. You know that if you ever deign to go to church? Alas, I cannot. Because you're not an English woman? Blah 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 blah. For your violin. Isn't it precious to you? Oh my little Lori. What is it? I miss you. I miss you too. You should probably take off your clothes. What do you mean? You're dripping wet. You'll catch your death of cold. Oh, alright. I almost forgot. Do you really enjoy kissing me that much? I can't help it. You're distracting. Then I'll keep my lips to myself while you undress. Alright, fine. Her fingers moved to the back buttons of her black dress. She undid 1, 2, and then 3. As she stripped, exposing her neck, a shoulder, her clavicle, Tawa watched. Lorena was acutely aware of the older woman's eyes roving down her body. My little Lori, you're so beautiful. I'm not. You are. But enough of that. Tawa clung to Lorena a little closer. She tipped her head upwards and bit down on her lower lip, and then began to explore Lorena's mouth with her tongue. But this is straight up like some fucking Yuri shit, man. So, what is the rating on this game, I'm wondering? Like, are we talking like 17 and up or mature audiences only? MA? Is it MA rated? Because if you think about it, like, this has become a part of society. So why should it be censored? Theoretically, I'm sure someone's asked that question somewhere. So you wouldn't mind. So what exactly is the plan here? Like, they're gonna leave the mansion together? Why don't we feel good together? I really do love you, you know. Tawa. Tawa's fingers threaded gently through Lorena's hair. How did that feel, Lori? Was that apology good enough? You were trying to apologize? Yes, I'm afraid I wasn't very kind to you this last week. It is my own foolish fault. Lorena glanced up at Tawa's face. Their eyes met, brown and green. But if you must know the truth. A smile captured Lorena's lips. She smiled so brightly she could have put the stars themselves to shame. That's a good line right there. I've never been happier. Oh, my little Lori. Tao sniffled, her lower lip wobbling. You're so beautiful. I fear I'll never be parted with you, not ever. And you're remarkably clingy. Says the girl, hugging me so tightly I can hardly feel my arms. I'm sure you'll get over it. I don't want to get over you. Then, are we really going to stay together? I should think so, yes. I can see no reason why we shouldn't. But neither of us will have jobs. A trifling concern when I have enough money to put a duchess to shame. Tao reconsidered. A second-rate duchess, at least. With a small estate? Only 2 or 3 servants. And no priceless family jewels? Maybe a few sapphires, but nothing ostentatious. Certainly no diamonds. Still, it's enough to be getting on with. Yes, it's more than enough. Oh, is this near the end? How could I refuse? I don't think I talk about my past, but seeing as you ask so politely. Is it a flashback? My mother was born in London and lived there her whole life. Oh, okay, she's recapping her history. Until she met her father. Wasn't a talkative man. He's very quiet. Didn't like drawing attention to himself. Anyway. My mother was drawn to this peculiar man. Because my parents ended up getting married. Who's this? Oh, Tao. That's Tawa? Well, who, Winifred? I must have missed a character. Wait, who is that? Is that like... Okay, so this is Tao's background, right? Wait, who's that? So that's Winifred? No, that's Lady Whittier. The performance. Is this a generation jump? What's going on here? Okay, so they're still talking about their history, okay. So now she's gotta hide the fact that they're having a good time over there. Wait, what's this? What was that? She looked like she was in pain. It would be the last time she'd ever see Ada, Effie, and Lizelette. There's no going back. This really was goodbye. So did they end up leaving the estate? Hand in hand. I think we're close to the end right now. Because like the plot seems to be resolving right now. What am I looking for? There's something there. I forgot what it was. I thought it was there though. Oh, it was just a sky imagery? Okay. Oranges and lemons. Oh, there we go. There we go. Easiest platinum, right? Alright, that was number 1400 right there, you know, 1401 or whatever. Who's counting? I'm counting, but you guys aren't counting. Let me put it that way. Like, if you guys were counting, like, you'd be like, what the fuck kind of fucking ridiculous easy platinums are you playing, Tony? So I guess they end up living happily ever after. Is that what's going on? Okay, yeah, I didn't want to show you guys this thumbnail because this basically gives away part of the story right here. So that's why I just didn't start from the menu like I usually do. But here we go with this. We're done with that. Maybe we'll download it later and rewatch it again. As you can see right there in the upper right, like over there, 1401. because the sack of the PS4 Blackberry Honey was also. I did that first, but I did that with the skip method, so I just walked away. I didn't want to spoil it for myself. But this game, like I said, was cross-buy. For those who don't know, cross-buy is when you buy a PS4 or PS5 game, and there's a version for the opposite PS4 or PS5, respectively, and you get 2 platinums for the price of 1 theoretically. So I've been trying to focus on those more because like they basically double your progress in terms of getting your trophies, getting your platinums. That's just the way we do. And by we, I mean us trophy hunters out there. Some people might not consider me a trophy hunter. You might just consider me as like some guy who's obsessed with easy platinums. But I'll mark my words. I did say that eventually we're gonna play some real games. Eventually. Right now, I'm still catching up. For the time that I was gone, I'm still catching up to these easy platinums with both Bad Driver and Overhyped Gamer. But alright, guys. Thanks for watching. This went to holy shit. This went to almost a fucking hour. Damn. Alright. I should have did this in parts, but like, fuck it. Alright. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care of yourselves and each other.